Okay guys, I'm finally getting around to making the UCC recap video. I've been super busy in the shop and I just haven't been making videos. It's really no excuse because if I want to continue to grow this channel, I gotta pump out videos. So to recap UCC, we really need to go back before UCC. So back in around January, I decided that this was finally going to be the year. I was close enough on the truck to where I could finally dedicate enough time to finish it. And I originally wanted to go to Lights Out in South Georgia at the end of February. So January is typically my slow season, right around Christmas, right after Christmas. So I said that I would focus all my free time on working on the truck to get it ready, and I'd go to Georgia. I missed that by about a week, really. I needed about another solid week to work on the truck, and I just ran out of time. So I thought, okay, well, I'll make the first outing in it at UCC because everybody's been locked in their homes for a year, and that event didn't happen last year, so I feel like it's going to be a really huge event, and that'd probably be the best place to debut the truck. And everybody that likes the truck and has been waiting to see it, that's, best chance of them actually being there would be at UCC. So kind of made that the plan. So thought, okay, it's into February, UCC isn't until May, we've got plenty of time, the truck's really close. And then, as life does, it takes your plans and laughs at you and then changes them. And I got absolutely slammed busy with work, which is awesome, and I will never complain about that. Would much rather be here pumping out transmissions than messing with race trucks, even though that's what I love to do. But so around March 1st, I got hammered with work, and the phone calls and the messages and the text, and they just didn't stop. And pretty much from then until now, I've been maintaining 6 to 10 transmission builds at all times, trying to get parts out the door. It's been pretty hectic. So all of my free time that I thought I was going to have to finish the truck, that was out the window. So the week before UCC, the week before UCC, I'd been working on the truck after hours on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, all day. And then the last couple days before UCC, I was just 100% hitting it hard on the truck. And ended up working on the thing until the absolute very last minute. I wanted to be pitted on Thursday. Art Maupin wanted to do a photo shoot with the truck, and I was wanting to be at UCC pitted on Thursday by, before dark. Well, as racing has it, it takes your plans and laughs at them and throws them out the window. Everything was just taking a little bit longer than I thought. Thursday morning, I was still setting up the 4-link on the truck, scaling it. It was just coming down to the last minute. And my buddy Goose and I were here. We were getting ready to load the truck up. And I said, I really need to do one more spool up so that way I have a baseline with the air throttle. I actually have an air throttle that creates my staging limiter. And then when you let off the trans brake button, it goes full throttle. And so it's a mechanical piece, so you have to, change that to dial it in. It's not like a common rail where you can get on the computer and change it. So I needed a baseline to know kind of if I was in the ballpark. So when we went to UCC, I could do a spool up in the pits and see where we're at. So anyways, I do a spool up, and I pull it back in the shop, and he's like, hey, it's leaking fuel. So I shut it off, and there's just fuel everywhere. And I just thought, like, man, well, of course. So get the truck up on the lift, I'm checking it out, and as dumb as it sounds, I cannot find this fuel leak. I'm starting the truck, I'm letting it run, and I'm watching it, and it appeared to be coming from the pump. So it looked like it was coming from the bottom side of the pump. So I thought, oh man, did vibration crack this pump, or what's going on? So I ended up getting on the phone with my buddy Jared Jones, and then ended up talking to Dan Scheid, actually FaceTiming Dan, and I'm showing him everything. And while I'm under there FaceTiming Dan, I realized that my fuel filter housing, it has an O-ring fitting plug, and that plug was loose. And so what was happening was it was spraying out of there, because that mechanical pump at idle, it'll make about 20 psi. So it was pressurizing enough to where it was atomizing into a mist, going up on the injection pump and then dripping back off. So that took about an hour just to find that. and figure out, okay, that was the problem, fix it, yep, okay, it's good. So now it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I realized not only did, we still have to wash the truck, clean it up, load it up, and load up tools and everything, and then head up there. But now my diaper is full of fuel, my engine diaper. So I had to take the engine diaper off. There was about 2 quarts of fuel in that thing, so it was just trashed. Threw it in my parts washer, washed it while I was washing the truck, got the truck all ready, and this diaper is still just saturated, so it can't go back on the engine. So we just said, all right, throw it in the trailer, we'll put it on when we get to UCC. So we ended up leaving for UCC at about 1 o'clock in the morning that night. Drove all the way up there, stayed in a hotel parking lot that evening, went to the track pretty much as soon as they opened that morning. I think we got there around 8. So this would have been Friday, so this would have been the first rounds of qualifying Friday. So when we get there, I still had to put the diaper back on. I still had to put a nitrous blowdown tube in it, and there was one other like safety related thing that I had to do. I don't remember what it is now, but anyways, I had 3 things we had to do once we got there. So we got there, we get the truck unloaded, get the pit mat out, put it on the pit mat. We put the diaper back on. Luckily, it was hot enough already, early enough to where we threw the diaper on the back of my tow truck, and the sun dried it out, so that was good. Get it all put on, and get everything good, do a spool up. We're still pretty high on boost. It was like 32 PSI, so I knew that I needed to back that down. So mechanically adjusted that. It's a little bit of just a trial and error on that deal. It's until you get it, close. So then in between that time, we get the tech guy. He comes down, techs us in. All good there, past tech, no problem. And by this time, it's first round of qualifying is coming right up, and I'm still I'm cooling the truck down from the last spool up we just did. I really need to make another one because I don't know if there's no point in going up to the starting line if it's going to make like 30 pounds of boost on the limiter. Like, I'm shooting for no less than 20 and no more than 25 to start with. It's a brand new build. I really don't know what to expect, but anything with outside of those parameters is a totally waste of time even going up to the track. So we skipped the first round of qualifying just for that reason. Cooled it down, did another spool up. Okay, we're good. Got the boost where we want it. We'll go up there for the second round of qualifying. So second round of qualifying is coming up, and I'm just giving the truck a once over. I'm just checking everything. Like I said, it's brand new, so it's you don't really get second chances with these things if you miss something important. So you really need to take the time to check them over. So I'm going over everything, I'm checking it out. My buddy Newman's he's torquing the wheels. Everybody's kind of working on this thing. And I noticed that on my front hubs, I have a set of aluminum hubs, and there's a cap on the outside, and the cap bolts through to the, it's like a gear. A first gen has lock-in hubs from the factory, and these are basically lock-in hub deletes to where it's four-wheel drive all the time. So basically these caps are just beauty caps, but they bolt into the gear set that slides onto the axle and creates your four-wheel drive. Well, I noticed that these things were loose, and I thought, that's weird. So I went and got a tool and I started tightening them up, and when I was tightening them up, I actually just pulled the gear right out, and I was like, holy crap, what is going on now? So I took it apart, and the snap ring that I used, it was like too thin, and it would just pop it right off. It wasn't the right size snap ring. So I went over to the other side, took it apart, and it was seeing the difference. I was like, holy crap, okay, yeah, this is a way thicker snap ring. So when I put this together, I don't know where I got this snap ring from, but it's wrong. So we pretty much hightailed. We knew we were going to miss the second round of qualifying at that point. It was like 30 minutes until we were supposed to be up there, and I needed to go locate a snap ring that I was pretty certain I wasn't even going to be able to find. So we left the track, went to Napa, went to a couple different parts stores. Nobody had anything, and we went to an Ace Hardware that had the best snap ring selection I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe it. It's not like the Ace Hardwares that I have around here. So we found an identical, correct snap ring. So we were like, okay, great, we're in business. We hadn't eaten all day at this point, so we stopped and grabbed some food. went back to the track, and I'm putting this thing back together, and then I realized another problem with it. So these plates that bolt on to the hub, the axle shaft actually protrudes past the hub like 200, like it was like 170 thousandths. And so when you would tighten up these plates, they would tighten up against the axle shaft, and it would start pulling the gear, and it would put pressure against that snap ring and try to pop it off. So these plates needed a pocket machined in them, and it's incorrect from the manufacturer. Like they should have put a pocket in them. So now I have a grinder, so I get a grinder out and I start doing some machine work here at the track on these plates. And so I get the plates all machined, which took forever. I don't know if you've ever tried to machine 200 thousandths out of aluminum with an old flap wheel, but it takes forever. So by the time we got all that done and correct and everything, it was third round of qualifying was over. And we kind of knew that was going to happen, but it just is what it is. So we said, hey, let's get it all right. Let's make sure it's right, and we'll go up there. You know, we got 2 more shots tomorrow. So we get it all done, and I really needed a little bit of something. I needed a little bit of data, and may or may not have gone to the back side of the track, to the back parking lot, and made a quick little test hit just to make sure that everything was working. So after we did that, so the next morning we come in and the truck's ready to go. It's actually ready this time. So Q4, that would be, we go up there, and man, I am nervous. Like, I try really, really hard not to be nervous when I'm racing, because I believe that when you're nervous and you're racing, you will make a mistake. And sometimes that mistake is the difference between crashing the truck or not, saving the run. You know, there's just a multitude of things, and it's such a serious deal that you don't ever want to be nervous when you're up there. But I've been building this truck for 8 years. You know, I've built pretty much everything on it myself. I was pretty nervous. When we filled the air to water tank up with water, when we went up there, I filled it up. It was my fault. I left the lid loose. I didn't tighten it all the way up. So we went up there, and I was, you know, going to do a burnout, 4-wheel drive burnout like we do in JP's truck. And at the time, don't have any way of limiting the burnout. So like on JP's truck, we have a different tune. So we'll do a 4,500 RPM limited burnout. So we can just make the burnout nice, clean 4,500 RPM. And then when we back up, we change the tune to our downtrack tune. Well, mechanical, I don't really have that luxury. So I didn't want to just let go of the trans brake and do a 5,500 RPM burnout, because that's how you tear up valve train parts. So I figured I'd hold the trans brake button. I knew it'd make about 22 pounds of boost, and I thought that'd be enough to, you know, spin the tires. Well, it wasn't. With the dump valve on, it's draining so much fluid out of the converter that the converter's super loose, and basically I just drove right through the converter, never spun the tires. So my tires were, I went back and looked at some videos. I think one of my tires were wet, but I think the main reason it was wet was because of what happened next. So I went up to take the tree, and when we bump in with brake pressure. So we have our foot on the brake, and then that really allows you to control how easily you bump in. Well, I didn't have nearly enough brake pressure on it, and you know, my brake setup's a little bit different than JP's. They're both manuals, but he's got a different master cylinder, so I was kind of treating it like his, but mine doesn't stop like his. So I end up bumping through the lights. So Q4 out the window. We're not getting any time because we just bumped through the lights. So in the process of doing that, the air to water lid comes off and puts water on the track. So now I look like an idiot, and I put water on the track. So I backed up and I asked the starter if I could just make a time pass. Don't care if it counts for qualifying. Like, I just need to make a pass. So I back up. He says yes. They get the water situation cleaned up. They get all that fixed. So I go up there. I just go ahead and take both bulbs. That way I don't have to worry about bumping. and spool it up, let go of the trans brake button, and as you see in the video, it just immediately, it pretty much rolls out about 30 foot and drives left.
Here's the track, we're looking to get done.
So that run was basically a waste. So coming back to the pits after that, checking some stuff over, going over some data, made 20.2 pounds of boost on the limiter. I was good with that. I was pretty much happy with everything. I noticed during that run that I felt like my steering wheel was off. It felt like it was off one tooth. So went back, changed the steering wheel, got it back straight. As you can see, it's just like, this is what happens when you rush a new build. You fight problems with it the whole time. So go up for Q5. This is our last shot. This is, you're only making the field if you run 640 or quicker, which at the time I didn't even care. I just wanted to make a pass under power. I didn't care if I made the field or not. Like, I knew going into this deal that this was a test session, so that's how I was treating it. So skipped the burnout this time around because that was a fail last time. Went up there, just turned both bulbs on, flat-footed it, spooled up, let go of the trans brake button, and it felt terrible to me because I'm used to driving JP's truck. So it let go of the button, and about 30 feet or so I had to drive it a little bit, but other than that, it ran on down through there. When I made the 1-2 shift, I'm still shifting it manually. When I made the 1-2 shift, I didn't feel anything in the truck. I didn't hear it make the 1-2. I didn't feel it change. It just kind of seemed like it was just running up in first. And then I shifted into third, and then I felt it, pull down and run. And about the top end of the racetrack, it didn't shift into overdrive. So I just lifted and I pulled the chutes just to make sure that the chutes worked. And ended up clicking off a 607 at 109, which I was pretty happy with that for considering what all went on. And so they came down and got me. We went back to the pits, checked everything over, and I was like, man, the data showed that it didn't make the 1-2 shift. So later I ended up finding out that my linkage was loose on the transmission, the actual selector. And so it was just one of those things when you're trying to get a new build done and you're trying to make a race, it got overlooked. It didn't get tightened up. It loosened up on me, and that's why it wasn't all the way in second, so it didn't make the 1-2 shift. And then once I shifted into third, it went into third. So on that run, it was a 143 60 foot, which I'm not proud of, but that would get the job done based on what I see. I'd like to be somewhere in the mid 130s on the 60 foot. And then it didn't shift into overdrive, didn't make the 1-2 correctly, and I lifted at 5.7 into the run. And if you watch the video that I'm about to play next for you, you'll see that if you watch the smoke and look at the racetrack, I lift right at that set of cones. Well, those cones are the mile per hour cones, which are 60 feet before the stripe. So I lifted 3/10 early and coasted to a 607. And then that 607 landed me in the field. I think I was number 16 spot. So no doubt the truck is going to run 590 with ease.
Logan built Gilren Shine diesel entry, first gen Cummins truck. Gorgeous machine, show quality. A true P-pump 12 valve Cummins under the hood. Been in the works for a long time, making its debut runs here today. Had problems with it in Q4 earlier this morning. We pushed through the beams on him. He did make a timed lap, but it did not count towards qualifying, so he's looking to get a number on the board right here. 607.3, 109.89 miles an hour for Logan Yelton.
Pretty happy about that. You know, first time out with a mechanical truck, running that quick. You know, I'm happy with it. I believe that's the fastest first gen. You know, I guess if you really care about that, but so it's pretty neat, you know, to be able to go that fast in the first full complete pass on the track. So we made the show, cooled it down. You know, we're looking over data, going over everything. So round one, we have Buddy Calloway in the I think they call it like the dumpster or something. It's a Duramax that's like no money in it. Like it's supposedly a stock bottom end that they're just spraying the crap out of it. Like he's definitely got the cheapest 590 truck out there. But that dude's like #1 points leader right now. Like he wins a lot. So we have him first round, and so I go up there and I take the beams. He takes the beams. I spool up, bump in. He bumps in. I think he bumped in before me. And then let go of the button, and the truck drives left on me, just like it did the first time. I noticed sitting in there that it sounded like it was making more power on the limiter, which is weird. I don't know why it would do that, but that's what it sounded like. I let go of the button, it drove left, and so I dumped out of it because, you know, the race is over. Like, if you have to pedal it in 590, you're done. You're not winning. So I dumped out of it, and when I did, I looked over, and he should have been there, and he wasn't there. So I stabbed it again, and by this time I had already made the 1-2 shift before I lifted. So it was in second gear, and I flat-footed, and it was like, bah. And so finally it gets back on top of the turbo, and I run down through there, and I get the wind light. I talked to Buddy afterwards, and unfortunately for him, his shifter, he's still running a stock, so he accidentally bumped his shifter into neutral, and that's why he didn't make it past the starting line. So tough break for him. On the return road, I noticed that my boost was at 2 psi on the logger, and it should have been 0. So I thought that was weird. So we get back, and I go to pull the data out of it, and this thing my data starts logging at 2 psi boost. So this thing has made like 100 logs, not actually 100, but it probably made like 15 logs, just between the return road and coming back before I shut the power off. And so I had to go through and delete all those logs, and I couldn't pull the data from that pass. So when I pulled the card, it said, you know, it had some stupid card reader error. That's happened to us on JP's truck once or twice. It's really frustrating because you don't know what happened. So pretty much didn't know what happened on the starting line. Didn't know why it seemed like it made more power. So we just kind of decided, like, you know what, like, we're not making consistent passes with the truck. It's driving one way or another. So we're gonna call it quits for second round. And then the boost pressure deal, my water injection is before the boost pressure sensor, and so the boost, I'm pretty sure, was getting water in it, and I think that's why I was screwing with it, because when I got the truck back home and I unloaded it, it was reading perfect. It was reading 0. So I'm going to have to move that to get that fixed. But anyway, so we were supposed to have Cody Fisher in the second round. And I just went up to Cody and I said, hey, you got the W, man. You know, I could have gone up there and taken the tree. And it's, from a racing standpoint, it's dumb to lose a race from your trailer. When, like, you have a vehicle that moves under its own power, you should at least go up there and take the tree and hope the guy red lights. But I'm not that way, man. Like, I know that Cody would definitely take it easy if he knew that he had the W. So I went over and told him, like, hey, man, you got it this time. So overall, lots of things that needed addressed, lots of things that needed worked on, but pretty happy. The truck didn't bounce. That's something that most every four-wheel drive guy experiences when they go out for the first few times is a bounce. I was really pleased that The 4-link setup that I put in it didn't have any bounce to it. It's not 100%. It needs work. Shock settings aren't where they need to be. Probably going to change the instant center just a little bit. But the biggest thing that was killing us was the tire pressure. I've never been on radials before, so I was treating them like we run our slicks, and I just wasn't running enough air pressure in them. And, you know, a tire is a spring, so the less air pressure you run, the more springy you get. And so I think that was a lot of our steering problem with the front end. So I think the next time we go out, we'll have a lot better results. So then, you know, the event's basically over for us. We hang out for a little bit, go check out the event, you know, look at some of the UCC competitor trucks and whatnot. We go, we clean up, we load the truck up. We're going to leave, you know, Sunday morning. So I leave Sunday morning, head home. You know, you think it's all over with, right? Got home, we stopped to eat, checked the trailer like I always do every time we stop. Everything was good. From where we stopped to eat to my shop is 10 miles, maybe 12. It's not far. It's a 15-ish minute ride. Somewhere between there and the shop, the strap that I used to strap my golf cart in broke. And when it broke, the brake was on the golf cart, but bouncing, it slides around. And so the golf cart actually got into the front of the race truck. I'll put a picture up here so you can see. So it got in the front of the truck, destroyed the bumper, broke the grill. There's a filler piece in between the bumper and grill. It's a metal filler piece. It mangled that thing. Luckily, I was very happy that it didn't hurt my fenders or my hood, because my buddy Travis that painted it would probably be really upset with me if I called him and said, hey man, I need you to fix all this stuff you just did. So luckily it didn't tear up any of that, but it sucks to tear up a brand new race truck because of a golf cart strap breaking. And it's my fault. I should have never trusted it to one strap. The problem is that that's how I've always hauled that golf cart. I throw a strap over the frame, I cinch it down, and it's never given me a problem. Well, the problem is I use the same strap in the same spot every time. I don't even unhook it from the floor usually. So where it was running across the frame there, it wasn't sharp, but it was a dull corner. And so from running that strap in the same position for 2 years, you know, ever since, like every time I would take JP's truck out or anytime I used the trailer or whatever, the golf cart would move around on the strap and it finally just cut it. So check your guys' straps on stuff. Don't think just because you've been strapping it one way your whole life that that's necessarily the right way. I strapped that thing for 2 years like that. My dad's strapped his golf cart like that for years and never had any problem. And it's, you know, it's not a problem until it is a problem. And then when it is, it costs you, you know, a lot of money to fix it. So we have new parts. Actually, everything's here. I got a carbon fiber bumper from a guy on Instagram, and it's a really nice piece. That bumper I had on the truck was a fiberglass bumper made by some company up in Canada, and it took me like 6 months to get that freaking thing made, and I'm sure they don't even have the mold anymore. So I was most upset about the bumper being tore up. Luckily, this dude on Instagram, I think his name's Declane Evans. If I butchered that, man, I'm sorry. But he's got a first-gen gas truck. It's technically not a first-gen. It's a 10-grill truck. But really cool piece, and he'd made a carbon fiber bumper for it. And so I hit him up, and I said, hey, man, I really need a bumper. Like, what can you do for me? And he got on that thing right away and had it to me in a week. So big shout-out to him for hooking me up with that. Luckily, I had a spare grill. I'm probably going to search for another spare grill just in case. So if any of you guys have one, let me know. A non-painted, paintable grill, let me know. And then a customer of mine, Jordan Fallhaber, had the bumper filler piece I need. So I've got everything to fix the truck. Now I just need a little bit of time to do the body work on some of this stuff and get it fixed. So started off bad, and I guess it ended bad, but the silver lining of it is that the truck finally did go out. The truck finally made some passes. I didn't crash it. I didn't blow it up. I didn't really tear too much up other than the golf cart deal. And right now, I mean, the truck's pretty much ready to go back to the track as soon as I get the front end parts fixed. I'm not going to take it back out like that. I don't even want to look at it the way it is. But started it up the other day for the first time in at least a month and fired right up, moved under its own power. Everything seems really happy. So when is it going back out? I don't know, just to be honest with you guys. This is like the dog days of summer out here. It's miserably hot, not to sound like a pansy, but it's the truth. It's hot. It's really hard to test when it's ridiculously hot out. Like I said, I've got a bunch of transmission work just still that I have to do, that I've been doing. And then I have a customer's race truck here right now that I currently can't talk about, but once we get it done, I will be able to talk more about it. But that truck is kind of taking priority over my truck. That's something that we're doing a track day, the owner and I together, after I do some chassis setup stuff to it. So I don't know. I don't know when the next time I'll run the truck. I would really like to run the truck. I really wanted to go to Rocky Top because I love that track and I really like the atmosphere, but it's not looking realistic. I've got too much other stuff on my plate. I'd like to go to Shide with the truck, just because that's Dan's event. I have a good relationship with those guys. I'd like to support their event, but no promises on that either. At this point, if I can get the truck back out in the fall, when the weather's a little bit cooler and I can, make some laps in the thing, I'd be really happy with that, but don't rule me out for Shide. I might be there with it. So yeah, pretty much that's the UCC recap. That's where the truck's at. That's what's going on with it. Don't cry too much for me being an idiot and breaking my strap. It is what it is. Could have been a lot worse. Learn from my mistakes. Don't be dumb like me. Check what you're doing, and like and subscribe. And I will keep the content rolling for you guys. I appreciate it.